This is the post-development testing evidence video for the evaluation portion of my OCR Computer Science A-Level non-exam assessment. To begin these tests, I will test to see if the menu opens when the game is first launched. As you can see, the menu is open now that the game has been launched. The next test will be to see if the leaderboard opens when the leaderboard button is clicked. As we can see, the leaderboard button has been clicked and the leaderboard for the top 10 fewest moves to win has been outputted to the screen. Currently, this holds placeholder values. This will be changed later on as I do more tests. Next, I will be clicking the swap category button to see if I can swap the categories of the leaderboard. As we can see, when the swap category button is clicked, we change from the moves leaderboard category to the time leaderboard category. This means that this test is considered a success. The next test will be to see if clicking the return to menu button allows me to return to the menu from the leaderboards. As we can see, when clicking the return to menu button, we return to the menu. Therefore, this test is a success. The next test will be seeing if clicking the play game button will enter the match. As we can see, this test is a success as a match has started. The next test will be to see if the game can correctly output a 7x6 board. As you can see, a blue 7x6 board has been outputted onto the screen. Therefore, this test is a success. The next test will be to see if the AI plays its counter first at the beginning of a match. As we can see, the AI has played a yellow counter in the middle column to begin a match. Therefore, this test is a success. The next test will be to see if the player is able to choose where their counter will fall. To do this, I will press the AD to move the counter left and the D key to move the counter right, so it will rest in the middle once I am finished. As we can see, after pressing A, it has moved left, and after pressing D, it has moved right. Therefore, this test is considered a success. The next test will be to see if pressing the spacebar allows the user to drop a counter in their desired column. I will press the spacebar over the middle column, and a counter should appear on the second row of the middle column. As we can see, I have pressed the spacebar and a counter has now gone into its desired place. As you can see, the AI is still playing moves as intended. The next test that I will carry out is to see if the counter will remain on the board even if it has an input which should take it outside of the board. So for example, this will be pressing the D key to move the counter right when it's already in the rightmost column. I'm currently pressing the D key, and as you can see, the counter is staying stationary, which means that this test is a success. This also works on the left side as demonstrated here. The next test will be to see if I am able to play a counter in a full column. If the test is a success, I should not be able to play a counter in a full column. As we can see, when I attempt to play a counter in this full column by pressing the space bar, nothing happens. This means that this test is a success. The next test will be to see if the player can drop a counter using the enter key. As we can see, after pressing the enter key, the player can now drop a counter into the desired column. The next test will be to try and win the game by getting a line of 4. For this test to be a success, when I as the player create a line of 4 or the AI creates a line of 4, the appropriate message should be outputted. As you can see, the AI has successfully won the game, and the AI successfully made a row of 4 counters, and the correct message has been outputted as the AI winning. Therefore, this test is considered a success. In order to continue testing, I will have to play more rounds of this game for now. The next test will be to see if the AI is capable of blocking a move that would cause the player to win on the next turn. Now I am going to play in the leftmost column. If this test is considered to be a success, the AI should also play in the leftmost column to block the 4 in a row that will be on the second row. As we can see, the AI has played in the leftmost column, therefore this test is considered a success. The next test will be to see if the AI will make the correct move when it has the opportunity to win in its next move. In order to test this, I will play a counter in the leftmost column. If this test is a success, the AI will then follow into the leftmost column and create a line of 4 in the 4th row of the table of the board. As we can see, the AI has successfully made the correct move, and therefore this test is considered a success. The next test will be to assess if the AI's behavior is random. In order to assess this, we will have to see if the AI follows a repeatable pattern of moves in every game if I play the same moves consistently. In order to do this, I will play in the middle column, fill it, then play in the left column and fill it, then the right column and fill it, etc. until the game ends to see if the AI makes repeatable moves in consecutive games. As you can see, this is the current state of the board now that the game has ended. Now we must repeat this process. As we can see, the AI has repeated the same sequence of moves. However, this should not happen every time, so I will attempt to get a successful result as I know that this should be possible. As we can see, a different set of results has been made, which means that this test is considered a success, although a partial success, as the AI is still somewhat manipulatable and predictable, as will be explained in my test table in my documentation. My next test will be to see if when the player wins the game, they are able to enter their name after the match. The name that they enter will then be used in the leaderboards, but that will be disclosed in a future test. As we can see, I have won the game, and a message asking me to input my name, input my username has been added. I will now input Jacob as a placeholder name, and now the win message has been outputted. Therefore, this test is successful as it has allowed me to enter a name. Now, in order to further test the leaderboard functionality, I must see if the leaderboard has updated live with the new data that has been entered. As we can see, as I only played 10 moves in the previous game, the name Jacob has been added. This means that the test is a success as the moves leaderboard is capable of updating live during gameplay. The next test will be to see if it also applies for the time leaderboard, and as we can see, I have been correctly placed in the correct rank, which means that the leaderboard is correct. Another test that has been made successful during the previous game was that after winning the game, the player can successfully return to the menu with no issues. As has been demonstrated multiple times during this video, this is a success. The next test will be a robustness test to see if the program will be maintainable long term by testing more difficult inputs that may cause problems. The first test will be right-clicking buttons rather than left-clicking them to see if they function to see that they do not function unless left-clicked. I'm currently right-clicking both the play game and the leaderboard buttons, and as you can see, no change is happening. Therefore, this test is considered a success. The next test will require me to once again win the game and test names that may be difficult for databases to handle. Okay. Right. The first difficult name that I will enter will be entering only spaces to see how it will be outputted into the leaderboard. As we can see, when entering only spaces, it leaves a blank space on the leaderboard, which to the user may look like an error. As a result, this test will be considered unsuccessful, as it is not an appropriate name that should be allowed to be entered. The next test will be simple usability tests. The first will be to see that the leaderboard is outputted in a clear and concise manner. As you can see, the ranks of the players are displayed in the correct order, the names are displayed in the appropriate order, and the amount of moves are marked with a bracket so it is clearer. There is very little overlapping between the text. This also applies to the time leaderboard. Therefore, this will be considered a success. The next test will be to see that when pressing play game, the player has an indicator above the column that they wish to play, so that it's easier for them to see where they will play the counter when they press either space or enter. As we can see, this is a success. I will now lose the game in order to just go back to the menu so I can finish. The final test that will end this recording will be pressing the quit button. If this test is successful, the game will close and this recording will finish when I press the quit button.